Hi, my name is Shazza. I'm a Singaporean singer-songwriter, and today I am joined by a fellow singer-songwriter.
Umar Sirhan.
And today we are here to show you our latest single that has just come out. It's called Rain in Manhattan, and we're pretty proud of this one, and we hope you like it. So, yeah.
It's been raining in Manhattan, but it's falling soft like satin. Called to ask you what's been happening. I'm thinking of you tonight.
Well, it's pouring in Long Island, and the wind is getting violent, but I'm sitting rather silent. I can't see the stars tonight, and maybe it's bad timing, but ours was never good. I'm missing you, love, more than I thought I would. We don't have much time here. Just tell me if you love me. So let's waste no time. I know it's still early, and maybe if we try and we look towards the sky, we'll see the stars tonight.
Is your hair the same old color? And your perfume, has it changed? Do you still go out on your balcony to see the stars at night?
Even though you're pretty far, it wouldn't take me long by car to get to where you are, where we could see the stars tonight. And maybe it's bad timing, but ours was never good. I'm missing you, love, more than I thought I would. And maybe it's the thunder or the lightning in the sky, but I know I'd be a fool to let you pass me by. We don't have much time here. Just tell me if you love me. So let's waste no time, though I know it's still early, and maybe if we try and we look towards The record stops spinning, but I'm still glued to you.
This feels like a new beginning. Do you feel the same way too? Hi, you're with us in Music Lab, where we invite music acts to our studio. I'm Eddino Abdul Hadi, and I've got Shazza here with me.
Hi.
Shazza is a rising Singaporean singer-songwriter whose performances and original songs have been getting quite a bit of attention in the past year. And she's been getting millions of streams on Spotify and TikTok. Hi, Shazza, and welcome to Music Lab.
Hello, thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
So I hear that our new Prime Minister, Mr. Lawrence Wong, is a fan.
I'm
Is
not
that
sure.
true?
I'm not sure if he's a fan per se, but I have met him a couple of times and he's been very kind.
How do you first get in touch with him?
I think first time I met him was I first got in touch with him over social media actually. So he did during the Taylor Swift Eras Tour craze, he did a guitar cover of Love Story by Taylor, and it was my dad who suggested. I saw the video, but my dad was the one who suggested that I duet it because it's supposed to be vocally sung, but it was just guitar. So he's like, why don't you duet it and do the vocals? And I was a bit like shy because it's the DP. It was the DPM at the time. But I thought it would be nice to just do it and see what he thought of it lah. So I did it, and then I couldn't tag him in the video, so I ended up like sending it to him directly. So I DM'd him. I was like, "Hi, Mr. Wong. So I duetted your video. I just hope you like it." And I happened to live in his constituency.
So he was your MP.
He was my MP. So I was like, "PS from your neighborhood." I was like, it was just a casual message lah. And he replied and he commented on the video. So that's how we first connected. And then we first crossed paths in person when I was asked to perform at the Minister Hari Raya Get Together event. That was really fun, and it was very nice of him. He told me that he liked my original song that I performed that night the most out of the 3 songs that I performed. The other 2 were Raya songs, so that was very sweet to hear. Yeah,
And I heard that you were invited to his swearing-in ceremony,
I was.
but you couldn't go.
I couldn't make it. Well, how often do you get invited to the Prime Minister's swearing-in? But it was very sweet of him to invite me to begin with. Unfortunately, I was in Korea at the time and I couldn't get out of the trip. So I gave him a little apology present. I gave him a copy of my album, like a physical CD.
Nice.
Yeah, then I said, this is an apology present. Then he was like, apology present, no need lah. Very sweet guy lah. But yeah, I wish I could have been there. But I'm sure he's going to be doing great things for the country. I'm excited to see what he does, especially for the arts community.
Right.
Given like his affinity for it. Yeah.
The past year has been very big for you, hasn't it?
It has.
Right.
It's been busy.
Okay. Let's go back to January. I think that was a time when that video that you did with Crash Adams.
Yes.
It's got what, like now 21 million views on TikTok. The main video alone, and all the other videos that are surrounding it will also getting like millions of views.
Yeah.
How has that had an impact on your music career so far?
It's probably been the biggest affecting factor so far. I think one of the main things I was struggling with before this was trying to get more traction on social media, because virality is not something that you can typically create.
Yeah.
I suppose unless you're Crash Adams, because the way that they do their videos
That's what they do.
it's kind of, it's a guaranteed kind of way for you to get views. So when that came my way and they asked if I wanted to make content with them, they reached out about it. I was like, oh, of course. I was nervous, but why would I turn it down? It's like one of those opportunities that comes like once in a while only. So I did my best, and I wasn't sure how it would go, and I didn't even know when they would put it out. So when it did come out, it blew up beyond my expectation. I really didn't expect it to go that far. I thought it would like eventually stop, like the following would eventually stop at like a certain point, but it just kept going, and it was very nice to see people from all over the world interacting with it. And I think they recognized the weight of it also. There were people from Brazil telling me like girl, you've made it to Brazil. Like I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And yeah, like it was very special because if not for the video, I don't think I would have been able to reach that much of an audience in such a quick amount of time. You know, like it definitely was a big boost on my career, and it also has granted me quite a few more opportunities to do what I love, which I'm very grateful for because it's all I've wanted to do for a very long time. So big shout out to them for having me and for doing what they do with their platform, you know, like uplifting other artists. I think it's a very cool thing that they do. Yeah.
Right. Also around the same time in January as well, Chris Martin from Coldplay called out your name at one of their shows
The
in
last
Singapore.
concert, actually.
The last concert.
Yeah.
Right. So how did that happen?
So
why were you?
Why
was he
would
calling
he
you? Yeah.
I was asking myself the same thing. We got to meet him. Like I think a couple of am I allowed to share this? I'm looking at my manager. Can, right? Okay. So because for a while it was embargoed information, but
He's gone.
He's
gone.
gone.
He's not in Singapore anymore. Yeah.
But yeah, so a couple of us local artists got to meet him because he
Nice.
he arranged to have a meet with like local artists so that he could understand a bit more about our music industry here and stuff. I think that was very sweet of him to take out the time to do this, given that it was such a busy period for them here. So that's how I got to meet him. I got to meet him a couple times over the course of their stay here.
A couple of times when he was in Singapore.
Yeah. For different organized events and stuff. Like it was very special lah. Like I got to show him some music as well. Like we all got to show him some music, and he really enjoyed actually the latest song that I put out, All You Really Need Is Love. Before we actually officially worked on it, I showed him the demo. So I showed that during that like showcase session that we got to do, and he said it was really good and he really liked it. So I was like, okay, Chris Martin approved, you know, so I can move forward with this track. But yeah, I think from those meetings, that's how he got to come know about me, and it was very sweet of him to name drop me. Not name drop me because who am I to name drop, but like to mention me at the show. I wasn't at the show, but my friend was.
Right.
Then I was on the way home from somewhere and I got a text from my friend. She's like, Chris Martin just said your name. I was like, what? What? And then I got the video and I was like, that's crazy. So I'm glad that, you know, that he remembered me. That was really cool. Never would have thought. Yeah.
Right. So you just performed a new song, Rain in Manhattan.
Yes.
Can you talk about that song? You know, what inspired the music and what are the lyrics about?
So Umar and I wrote that song about 4 or 5 years ago, around the time that we first met back in school. I think we had both bonded over our love for songwriting and everything, and we were bonding over our love for the rain. And so that's how we started writing this song. It morphed into like a story about New York, you know, like I have been to New York, but it wasn't based off of that experience or anything. It's kind of just like a setting, you know, and New York's kind of, in theory, it's a pretty magical place, you know, where dreams come true and stuff, right? So I think those were the ideas that we wanted to, you know, bounce off of. And the song in itself is about two lovers who have gone separate ways coming back together. And it's a pretty special one to the both of us because I think it's a song that a lot of people seem to resonate with. You know, I think it's kind of like the antithesis to Right Person, Wrong Time, which
was a very pop song, very upbeat and pop song.
Yes, and not just in nature but in meaning as well. Because Right Person, Wrong Time is about, you know, having to go separate ways with someone. This is kind of like the follow-up to that in a happy ending sense. So yeah, it's a song that means a lot to me. And building it was very special. So if you listen to the studio version, which has just come out, we have a whole band on it. So I first performed this song at my concert back in September last year.
The launch of your album.
Yes, my showcase launch. And this was where we first did the song and like performed it for like to the public for the first time ever. And I had a full band for that show, and we had like three violinists. Three like a 3-piece string setup, and then we had like a full band. So we went all out with it. And then when we finished like arranging it and everything, like I think I looked at the arrangement and I'm like, this is what the song is meant to be, you know? Like the version that you heard, that's a very stripped down version of it. And that's how the song was born. And I love that as well. But I think in its full entirety, that is what the song is meant to convey, all the emotions and everything. So those are all live instruments that you hear, plus some synths here and there. So it's very special that I have a lot of my favorite people on it as well. And I'm very happy with that outcome. Yeah.
Right. And it's a coincidence that last year, Spotify put your face on a billboard in
Oh
New
my
York
God, I didn't
Times
even make this
Square.
connection. That's crazy, yeah. Yes, that was very special.
Right.
That happened in August, my birthday month.
Wow.
And it was one of the best birthday presents I could have received. So that's part of one of their campaigns. It's called the Equal campaign. Yeah. So usually when you see the playlist cover, the woman who's on that cover is probably going to show up on the billboard at some point. So yeah, that was a very surreal moment for me because I've walked down that street before.
You've been there
when I
before.
was I think I
Times
was
Square.
12 years old. That's when I was there. The first and only time I was there, and like they have a far away shot of the the screen. And it's like near the Hard Rock Cafe. And then I remembered like walking there with my family and I'm like, whoa, like I was there, and my face is on the billboard. It meant a lot to me. And I think I've gotten feedback that it meant a lot to other people too, people who feel represented, seeing someone who looks like them, So I'm really glad that was something that I was able to do, because that's one of the things that I've been seeking to do from the beginning of this journey. I've always wanted to bring more representation to the table, because I think growing up, I didn't have many people to look up to in that sense, other than you and I, So I want to, do more for other people, not necessarily like to inspire other young girls to go out there and do music only, but just, I think seeing someone who looks like you with that kind of a platform, it makes you feel like you can do anything, I would say. So that's what I want to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You don't see many hijab-wearing women making English pop music.
Yes.
How has that worked out for you? What kind of effect has that had on you as a musician?
I think it's interesting to see, like, when people meet me for the first time, if they don't know about my music, and then I tell them that, I'm a musician, a lot of the time, the immediate assumption is that I'm a Malay artist, and that I make Malay music, which I suppose is probably because of my hijab, and maybe the fact that I'm able to speak Malay, like barely, but yeah, I think I've been wanting to go against that norm. So every time I get asked a question like, why are you not venturing into the Malay scene? Because I would be able to do well there too. I think I would say it's because I don't want to box myself into that that area. It's not that I don't ever want to go into Malay music. It just doesn't feel right now. And I'm happy like doing English music because this is where I thrive. I love the language, which is kind of lame, but like I think I've always loved words, and I grew up with a heavy, like my mom made me read a lot. So she forced me to read. Shout out to my mom for that, because it made me develop like a big love for language, and the English language in general. So that's where I perform the best, I think. So I'm still, trying to do as much as I can in that area. And yeah, I think it's interesting to see how people react to me making English music. But I think it's also been a strength, because it allows me to represent different groups of people while also catering to like the mainstream community in that sense. So I like to look at it as a strength, not trying to just set myself apart from others. And so far it's been going okay. I try not to focus on like the negatives of it, because I don't see the point in doing that. Yeah, I know why I'm doing this, so I focus on the purpose of it. Yeah.
Right. So I understand that even as a child, you've always been singing.
Yeah.
And that your parents are both big music lovers. Tell me what the environment was like at home music-wise when you were growing up.
My mom used to always have music playing on our radio. So she had, it's just during the CD times.
CDs.
Yes, the CDs times. And we had like a couple Nora Jones albums.
Nora Jones?
Yeah, because
Okay.
my mom's a big Nora Jones fan at the time. She had Frank Sinatra's collections. Then I've mentioned this a lot, but my older brother is also a Black Eyed Peas fan. So we had those collections and those albums, So it was a very eclectic mix. And then you also had my dad, who is a big Hollywood music fan.
Okay.
We're like an Indian family as well. So those are some of the roots that I've always, held on to. And it was very nice growing up with such a diverse mix of music, essentially, because I think that's what developed my love for the exploratory side of music. That's what I love about music. So when I was starting out in this professional career as well, I think I was advised here and there to stick to a sound, because I think that's like one of the I think some people see that as one of the surefire ways to make it commercially, and when people can recognize the sound, that you're able to do more with that. But it never felt right to me because I think from the very beginning when I started writing songs, what I've loved is being able to explore with all sorts of genres of music and create magic on your own without being boxed in by a certain genre. Yeah. So I have my upbringing to thank for that because I was exposed to a lot of different music. Yeah. And my parents have always been very supportive about my musical endeavors, which is something I know not everybody can say. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So when I first started writing songs,
when you were 11, right?
I was 11 years old. Yes. I think I just wanted to try and create something that I enjoyed consuming so much. And then I showed it to obviously I think my parents are always the first people to hear my songs, and they were like, wow, this is pretty good. I was like, oh wow, okay. That validation was all I need to take it and run away with it. And then I kept writing. I still remember the feeling of finishing that first song and then falling in love with the process of it. And I remember I was in primary school, right? So I was in school with this book that I started using to write songs, and I kept looking at it because I was just so enamored with the idea that I had discovered this ability or this art form. It's captured my heart ever since I started doing it, and it has held on to me for the longest time, and I think it's my first and forever love in that sense. So it means a lot to me that I get to do it for a living to some extent right now, because it's all I've ever wanted to do, to do it and to share it with the world, and then hopefully get some be able to sustain myself off of it and my family and my loved ones. So it's been going okay, and I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Right. Did you take music lessons?
Shout out to my Asian parents for the piano lessons. Yes.
What age were you when you started playing the piano?
I think I was 8. I think I was 8 years old. Yeah. My older brother started first, and I think I got a bit jealous because I'm like, I also want to learn piano, and then they were like, oh, okay. So they let me take piano lessons as well, and then I think I did up to grade 4 ish. And then I quit when I was doing PSLE because apparently it was too hard to balance the two.
Right.
Apparently PSLE was a lot for me at the time, and that checks out with who I am as a person. So it's fine. I stopped piano, but I kept the basics, and I think those basics of my piano education have come in very handy in my own music creation now, because logic and everything makes use of, you can play the drums by using the piano in that sense, So it's I think that was one of the main things that has helped me so far. And when I was 13, I picked up the guitar and I self-learned it. And that is also why I'm terrible at it now, because
why?
I self-learned it, but I didn't really have the guidance to go as far as I could with it. And I like playing the guitar, but I think not enough to go and learn all the fancy stuff. I love it because it serves my purpose of songwriting. So that's how much I know about it. I do sometimes wish I could play better, especially when I see my musician friends going ham on it. I'm like, wow, I wish I could do that. But I think there's a reason why. I know what I'm good at, and I shall stick to that for the time being. But yeah, so that's the extent of my music education growing up. Yeah.
Right. At which point did you realize that, music was something that you wanted to do more than a hobby, something that you wanted to do
I think
full-time maybe?
I've always known it. I feel very blessed to be able to say that I've always felt this calling of sorts to this, whether or not it's something that's going to last for the rest of my life, I've always felt a strong pull to it. And ever since I was a child, I think there was this moment when I was 6 at my uncle's wedding, and I think the wedding was over already and then we were supposed to leave, but I felt this urge to get on the stage and sing a song for some reason. I was asking my dad if I could do that. He was like, okay. And then I think they knew from that point that they were in a bit of trouble because I've always known this is something that I like to do. It's just that I never really looked at it as the most serious of ambitions, because it's not viewed as that often in Singapore. So when I would share with people that I wanted to do music, they would assume that I wanted to become a music teacher, for example, which is nothing wrong with, but it's not what I meant. So since it wasn't viewed as conventional, I also didn't really think that it was going to be my path. It's a matter of, I know I want to do this, but will I be able to do it? So that's a whole other thing. So I've always known that was my main dream, but I also kept my path open to figure out what else I could do realistically. But I think after my first experience with work life, I think during my internship, it wasn't a bad experience. Like, I learned a lot from the process, but I think that was what made me realize that the one thing that I am truly happy doing is music. And I couldn't see myself doing anything else full time and being like fully happy. And I started to get very scared of the idea of waking up one day and looking back on my life and realizing that I hadn't achieved any or tried to achieve any of the things that I wanted to do, you know. And I couldn't have that. So I think that's when I realized I don't have a choice at this point. I have to give this a proper shot and at least try and see where it takes me. Because I didn't want to regret not doing so. And I'm young, you know, I was even younger at that point, and I felt I don't have any big responsibilities at this point in my life. It's the best time for me to go and make mistakes and fall down and then try and get back up again. At least I would be able to say that I gave it a shot, you know, and it didn't work out if it doesn't work out. So that's when I knew I needed to give it a shot for myself. Yeah.
But right now you're still juggling school and music.
I am, yes.
How's that working out for you?
It's okay. It's been a journey. I think it's only difficult because it's a full-time degree. I'm doing a full-time degree at NTU, Wikimwi. I'm studying communications. I finished my first year of uni before I started pursuing music professionally. And then I took a gap year. So it's been a lot. It's kind of been an on and off situation. Right. And that comes with its own fair share of struggle because I'm not always working with the same batch, you know. Then I do worry about, okay, when I do my FYP, who am I going to work with? Because I don't really know people anymore. And then when I do go back to school, juggling the two, because I can't really take a break from music and not suffer the consequences of doing that, because it's a matter of momentum, which is why I opted to take leave of absences here and there. Also because I don't want to like do my school stuff in a half-baked way. That will come back to haunt me also, you know. So it's a matter of juggling, and that has bit quite tricky. I think when I was back in school last semester, I was doing full-time music and full-time school. It got to a point where I needed to talk to the school counselor for a bit of guidance on how to handle my stress, because it was getting very overwhelming. This was approaching like the countdown show and everything. I think all I really needed was some validation that I wasn't being a wuss about it. So when I told him everything that was going on, then the counselor was like, oh wow, that's a lot. I'm like, thank you, I'm good to go now, because I just needed that validation. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been something that I've been trying to juggle, and I'm still going to be trying to juggle it when I go back to school, because at this point I'm not in school. I'm on another break. So I'm trying not to think about what it's going to be like when I'm back there. But I want to get my degree. I want to be able to graduate with it, because I finished 1.5 years out of 4. And at this point, I keep joking that I'm probably going to graduate at 30, but it's probably going to be true at this point. It's fine, you know. I move at my own pace, and I think that's better for me than to try and rush it and then regret, you know, letting this go or letting that go. And I really appreciate that the school has been very understanding about it and supportive. They've featured me on their admissions magazines and stuff as well. Nice. So I'm glad that they seem to be proud of what I'm doing, and yeah, just trying to figure that out. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll take it one step at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, what's an average week like for you?
Oh, well, these past few weeks have been very busy. Like back-to-back gigs and rehearsals and stuff. And it can be tiring, but it's a good problem to have, because I think in the music industry, you make a lot of your living off of gigs and stuff. So it's always great when you've got a lot of gigs coming in. So yeah, I've been quite busy with that. Also been, you know, preparing for new music to come out in general. So I think an average week is, juggling rehearsals, gigs, and then trying to find some time for myself and my family and my friends and stuff, like so a social life, and then preparing for upcoming projects and stuff. So it can get a lot, but it's fun. You know, I'd rather be tired doing what I love than tired doing something I don't enjoy. So yeah, I'm blessed but stressed. Stressed but blessed, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You released your debut album, Chapter 1, last year.
Yes.
And it includes Right Person, Wrong Time, which I think right now has got close to 2 million streams.
Yeah.
Who are your listeners? Do you look at your data? Where are they from? Which countries are they from?
We've got a lot from, surprisingly, quite a bit from...
Who's number one?
I think recently, from what I checked, it was Indonesia or Philippines. It has been between those two for a while. Then I think since the Crash Adams video happened, you've got a fair share of US listeners too. It's gotten bigger, the sphere of my listeners. But I think some constants are Indonesia, Philippines, Taiwan, Singapore. But we have a smaller population, so sometimes the number isn't as prominent. Malaysia, So what I've also been trying to focus on is growing my reach organically in a regional way. So I'm hoping to try to find more ways to reach those audiences and perform to them, be there and meet the people there who are listening to me. I think that's the best way to kind of solidify that connection with those audiences. But it's something I'm still figuring out. So one of the things that I really want to do is to travel with my music. So I'm hoping to be able to do that at some point. Yeah.
I think you just did your first show outside of Singapore recently.
Yes, I did. It was a very small appearance at a modest fashion womenpreneur summit in KL earlier this February.
Okay.
So they were having like a summit at Intercontinental Hotel in KL, and then they asked me to do a performance. So I was like, sure. I went down there, I sang one song, and then I left. But I had a great time because I love KL, and it was just very special to be able to do my first overseas performance there. Yeah, and for that community, because that's my community of people. It was a lot of modest fashion entrepreneurs, and I was very happy to be able to support that. Yeah.
Do you have more shows outside of Singapore coming up?
Not at the moment, but I'm hoping anybody can hit me up if you're looking for a performer. But none solidified at the moment. But I'm hoping for more opportunities. I would love to perform at an overseas festival one day. That's one of the dreams. So yes, I'm taking it step by step. It starts at home first. So I'm excited to try and break as much ground as I can here, while exploring my opportunities in the regional sense. Yeah.
Okay. Are you working on a follow-up to Chapter 1?
Yes, I am. I can't share too much about it right now because my manager's here. But it's exciting because I think this is going to be a bit different from Chapter 1. It's kind of like I wouldn't consider this Chapter 2 yet. It's not the sophomore album yet.
1.5?
Yes, it's like a 1.5 for sure, because it's a special kind of segue away from what I've been doing. I'm excited to explore the different ways that I can do this, and I really can't say much about it right now. But Rain in Manhattan is the first for this project, so there's going to be more to come.
Okay.
And then Chapter 2, then we'll do Chapter 2. Yeah.
Does Rain in Manhattan set the tone for the rest of the album?
No. This is going to be a very diverse one because once again, like I said, my favorite thing about music is exploring. So I wouldn't say it sets the tone. I think if anything, it maybe in terms of like the songwriting, not the style of songwriting, but the depth of it, the emotion. I think that's something that I always want to have in my songs. So I think that will definitely be there. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be very different throughout. So I'm excited for that. Yes.
Okay. So just one more question for you. And it's a question that we ask all of our interviewees.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Who's to say, really? I think the way that I have been rolling with this is a lot of trial and error, and I'm still doing that because it's a fickle industry.
It is.
And I'll be the first to admit that. So I do know that at some point, I'm not going to be the shiny new thing anymore. And I'm proper, at peace with that, because that's not why I'm doing this. I think the reason why I've been doing this is to pave the way for other artists who want to do this, who need a path to follow and stuff. So I'm hoping to do that. And then when it is my time to step away from this, I don't know when that will be. It could be in a couple of months, it could be in a couple of years, who's to say. I do know that I want to go into helping other artists to grow and maybe using my comms background to do that, because when I was starting out independently, one of the most tedious but funnest parts of doing this was the figuring out how to market and brand myself. And I don't think a lot of the local artists here have enough knowledge on how to do that as of yet, because it's the kind of thing that you learn in marketing school or so, and then you can also go and find, ways to do that online. But a lot of musicians are not natural marketers, and that's fine, because you don't go into this wanting to wanting to be a marketer for yourself, but you have no choice, especially when you're starting out. You're not going to have a team to help you to do that. So that's something that I had the privilege of understanding because of my upbringing and my background. I have a family who is very much rooted in comms and everything. So I want to be able to share that with other people. I find a lot of joy in sharing what I've learned with other upcoming, artists and stuff. So I hope to be able to take that to another level. I love the back end work of it also, and creative direction is something I'd love to look into. So I'm excited to see how I can still be involved in the music scene down the line. Whether or not I am doing music myself, we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I always want to be involved in this scene to some extent. Yeah.
All right, Shazza, it's been a pleasure having you in our studio.
Been a pleasure
and we look forward
talking.
to hearing more new music from you.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. And remember to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon.